What's up, y'all? This Kamali, man. I'm back. you know, it's good to see y'all, man, to be back on here, man, to teach y'all some lessons, man. I've been really on my grind on studying, man, and just trying to know and draw myself closer to Jehovah and Jesus Christ, man, So I want to do this teaching about Job, man, because I'm actually in Job chapter 15, but I want to teach y'all from the beginning of Job from what I've learned, from what God revealed to me and granted me to learn about Job and just in general. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of information, man. Real deep information that I never even thought. You know what I'm saying? So, I want to share this with y'all, man. Job chapter 1. Okay. Job chapter 1. You know, here it is. Job chapter 1. You know. And anyway, this is a New Living Translation, man. So, you know, let's get down. It says there once was a man named Job who lived in the land of Uz. He was blameless, a man of complete integrity. He feared God and stayed away from evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 teams of oxen, and 500 female donkeys. He also had many servants. He was in fact the richest person in that entire area. Job's sons would take turns preparing feasts in their homes, and they would also invite their 3 sisters to celebrate with them. When these celebrations ended, sometimes after several days, Job would purify his children. He would get up early in the morning and offer a burnt offering for each of them. For Job said to himself, perhaps my children have sinned and have cursed God in their hearts. This was Job's regular practice. So, like, Job was the richest person. He had everything that you would want. Job had. He had everything. He had a wife. He had kids. He had animals. He had riches. He had money. He had everything, man. Anything that you could think of that you would have wanted, Job had. Job had it. He had it. But even though he had those things and he was rich, he still feared God. Like he had faith, he had ultimate faith of God in God, and he didn't let those things, damage him to distance himself from God. Like he always kept his connection with God, and he didn't let nothing detach him from God and from God's love. And his family, his children sinned, but he tried his best to purify them, to correct them, to redeem them, under God's power, not under his strength, but God's strength, what I'm saying? But let's continue, man. um, One day the members of the heavenly court came to present themselves before the Lord and the accuser. Satan came with them. Where have you come from? The Lord asked Satan. Satan answered the Lord, I have been patrolling the earth, watching everything that's going on. Then the Lord asked Satan, have you noticed my servant Job? He is the finest man in all the earth. He is blameless, a man of complete integrity. He fears God and stays away from evil. So, God is telling Satan, um, have you seen my servant Job? You know, he fears me, he loves me, and he's filled with godly integrity. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like how it is with us believers of God. God brags on us. God brags to the angels, and he brags to Satan about how much of a faithful servant or filled with integrity servant or who whatever. He brags about us. I never really acknowledged that, but I realized that, you know, from this that God does brag about us. You know what I'm saying? Those who believe in him. You know what I'm saying? And that's how Satan be like thinking, let me try to detach this particular, you know, believer away from God. Because one thing, Satan don't like, he don't like you being a believer of God. And two, since he's suffering in hell, he wants you to suffer in hell too. Because he's suffering there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he wants you to suffer because he's suffering. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why Satan don't like the name Jesus, and he don't like God. And also that's another reason why Satan don't like believers of God and Jesus Christ, because he knows that God is the higher power and Jesus is God's son, and he knows that since he's suffering for what he's doing, for what he's done, that he wants us to suffer as well. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue, man. Satan replied to the Lord, "Yes, but Job has good reason to fear God. You have always put a wall of protection around him at his home and his property. You have made him prosper in everything he does. Look how rich he is. But reach out and take away everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face. All right, you may test him," the Lord said to Satan. "Do whatever you want with everything he possesses, but don't harm him physically." So Satan left the Lord's presence. One day when Job's sons and daughters were feasting at the oldest brother's house, a messenger arrived at Job's home with this news: "Your oxen were plowing with the donkeys feeding beside them when the Sabeans raided us. They stole all the animals and killed all the farmhands. I am the only one who escaped to tell you." So Satan basically telling God that, even though this your faithful servant or whatever, I could still get him to curse you out, to leave you, to abandon you, and to reject you. And God is like, you know, you can hurt his, you can take his possessions, you can, harm, you can do anything you want, but don't harm him physically. You can do everything you want, but don't harm him physically. See, and God is allowing this. God is not planning it. He didn't plan it. He allowed it to happen, but he didn't plan it, because God is allowing this to happen to test out Job's faith, to see if he trusts him, if he still loves him, or if he's going, since he's going, if he going through trials and hardship, trials and tribulations, will he still keep his faith in God, or will he just abandon it? So that's why God allowed it. And actually, that's what happened with us. Sometimes we face trials and different difficult tribulations that we don't really acknowledge, and be like, why I have to suffer in this, or why I have to face and go through this and go through this. But if you think about it, a lot of times we go through situations like that, not just because they come, but also God want to see if we still believe in him, do we still trust him, do we still love him, and do we still place our faith upon him, or or will we still keep our integrity, our godly integrity with him, or will we just abandon him because things is getting so difficult, or getting too complicated for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of things like that happen, because God is testing our faith to see if we still believe in him, and he's also seeing like, okay, are they go since they going through these hardships, will they still believe in me even though they're going through difficult times, or will they just abandon me? But I want to see, will they still believe in me? I want to see what they decision will be, since they going through these trials and tribulations and suffocations or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's what God to do, man. And it's been times I've been through situations like that. Not exactly how Job experienced stuff, but certain situations, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, dang, God, like, why am I going through this? Why I'm suffering this? Or why this happening to me? But I started to realize, like, God is really trying to test out my faith to really see, like, do I still keep my trust in Him, even though I'm facing hardships and trials, or would I just run away from Him? You know what I'm saying? And, I got confused and I got angry at times, but I still believe, you know what I'm saying? I still believe in His Son, Jesus Christ. I believe in His Son, Jesus Christ, wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? I believe in Jesus Christ so deeply that I feel like I I was I feel like I was there when He died on the cross, and even when He healed people and cast out demons and rebuked people from from different things that they said to Him, and when He was saying that the Pharisees were hypocrites and stuff like that. That's how deep I believe in Jesus and God. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, that's how deeply I believe, man. You know, but let's continue, man. Um, while he was still speaking, another messenger arrived with this news. The fire of God has fallen from heaven and burned up your sheep and all the shepherds. I am the only one who escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, a third messenger arrived with this news. Three bands of Chaldean raiders have stolen your camels and killed your servants. I am the only one who escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another messenger arrived with this news. Your sons and daughters were fasting in their oldest brother's home. Suddenly, a powerful wind swept in from the wilderness and hit the house on all sides. The house collapsed, and all your children are dead. I'm the only one who escaped to tell you. So, all these different things happen. Fire coming from shooting from heaven to, Job's sheep and stuff like that. All these things happening. His animals died, his farm servants died. It was only certain people, one particular individual that was still alive through all that because they escaped it. But besides that, like he lost everything. He lost his animals, he lost his sheeps, he lost his farm, he lost it all, man. You know what I'm saying? And it was three messengers that told him these things, that told him what happened. And he was just like, what's going on here? But the man behind it that's doing it is Satan. God is allowing it to see if, let me see if he still have faith in me. Because even though I'm testing him to test out his faith, not to test him to because he did something wrong. No, he's testing his faith to see if he still believe and trust in God. You know what I'm saying? And this is another thing too, because I used to think like that as well. Some individuals think that when you go through things or go through trials or brokenness and all that, people assume that God is uh is punishing them. You know what I'm saying? Because they going through difficult times. They going through hardships. You know what I'm saying? God is not, I'm here to let y'all know, man. God is not punishing y'all. All those believers and stuff like that assume that God is punishing you. God is not punishing you. God is testing you. You know what I'm saying? God is testing you. And He's testing you for whatever reason that you are lacking on, that He wanna see if you would still believe in Him and would you have faith. And also to get your attention. Because sometimes when we not paying attention to God, God will do everything He can to get our attention. And then when something bad happened, then we automatically assume, oh God, why you do this, and we blame God for it, and it's not God's fault. It's just that God trying to get our attention, but we not willing to give Him our attention. And also, God is testing our faith to see, do we still believe in Him, and do we still trust in Him? You know what I'm saying? I used to think the same thing, but I realized that God be testing us to really see if we still believe in Him, man. If we still have faith in Him. You feel me? That's what it is. It's not God punishing us, you know what I'm saying? God is testing our faith to see do we still have faith in him, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what it boils down to. But let's continue, man. Um, verse 20. Job stood up and tore his robe in grief. Then he shaved his head and fell to the ground to worship. He said, I came naked from my mother's womb, and I will be naked when I leave. The Lord gave me what I had, and the Lord has taken it away. Praise the name of the Lord. In all of this, Job did not sin by blaming God. So even though Job seen things that were happening unexpectedly, he still didn't blame God. He wasn't like, "Oh, dang, this is your fault. You the one that did this, God. Why you do this to me? Why you do?" You don't know. Even though he was still wondering, like he was wondering, like what's going on here, but he wasn't like automatically like, "Oh, dang, since this happened, I blame God because God did this to me and for I don't know what reason." No, God doesn't plan. He allows things to happen, but he's not the planner of it. Satan would try his best, all his power to try to detach you from God, because that's Satan's main mission is to detach believers and non-believers away from God so they could suffer in hell. Straight up. But God ain't having that. God is not having that. But then it's all up to us to keep our faith and pray to God and tell God to give us his strength. You know what I'm saying? If we not doing that, then most likely we gonna fall. We gonna keep messing up, giving it to things that are unholy, giving it to things of this world. Jesus said in the book of John, chapter 15, he said, do not give in this world. Do not give in this world. Do not be of this world. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, yeah, man, God allowed things to happen, unexpected happenings to happen because he's trying to test your faith. He really trying to see like, okay, do you still believe in me? Do you still love me? Do you still trust in me? Is your heart still stored with me? You know what I'm saying? It's not like God punishing you. You know what I'm saying? He's testing you to see if your heart is still with him. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I hope y'all learn from this lesson, man. You know what I'm saying? I praise God for y'all, man. I pray for y'all to gain wisdom and seek more of the Lord, man, and keep your heart stored with God and Jesus Christ, man. Stay consistent, stay diligent. You know what I'm saying? Keep your heart stored with God. The Bible says in Matthew 22, love the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor just as you love yourself. You know what I'm saying? So just, keep loving God and keep seeking after him, man. So I just want to share what God revealed to me in the book of Job chapter 1 and share it with y'all, man. So much love to y'all. God bless y'all and keep seeking God, man. Put God first, man. You know, amen to y'all and keep seeking, man. Keep God first and keep God your first priority, man. Your first responsibility out of all things. God bless y'all.